Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, action-packed episode of Rickcast. I'm Rick, and you are my bar rats, and thank you for hanging out and filtering in as we get ready for the show. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday, St. Joseph's Day. That would be the 18th of March, 2025, and boy, oh boy, sometimes there's no news, and then sometimes there's just weird news. And today's some weird news, and you and I, if you've been a part of this program for any amount of time, you and I kind of called this a couple weeks ago. That's right. If you are a part of this show, you remember when we were talking about the Pardon Derek movement that the Daily Wire was doing and how that was going to lead to some difficult things going down the line. that the Daily Wire really wouldn't survive this, that this was their last gasp for relevancy. And I think you and I were right when we said that, because today, the supposed quote unquote, and I put it in the toughest of air quotes, God King, Jeremy Boring, by the way, can't just have a regular last name. Your last name is really stupid to spell, has left. He's just gone in a press release, in a tweet, moving on, which we will dive into. And you and I called it. And what does this mean for the Daily Wire? Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles. My theory holds that Matt Walsh will be gone from the Daily Wire within a year. That prediction looks even more crystal clear than it did a couple weeks ago, because there's obvious turmoil at the Daily Wire. The Daily Wire has it went over its skis, it jumped the shark, whatever you want to call it. I think the flirtation with Tim Pool was its last real gasp, but kind of staying at its space atop the conservative alternative media cycle. But with the things with Rumble's launch of the lineup, and like Crowder and the Quartering and all these other people who are just dominant, of course, Tim Pool dominating that space, it really highlights that outside of something like the Blaze or something like the Daily Wire, those types of companies are kind of dead. We all know cable news is dead. That's why it's falling apart, and you see the numbers at MSNBC and all these other things are cutting costs and doing all this other stuff as the age of cable sails off into the sunset. And the loss of the Daily Wire, I don't think will be that impactful on conservative media, because there's too many people who are out there, like myself, obviously all the guys I mentioned earlier, and a bunch of other people on the ground doing great things. Of course, there's always InfoWars and others that are doing, like, InfoWars is kind of the last, and they're not even what I would consider like a news channel. It's just like a rapscallion group of people led by Alex Jones. I don't really think I consider them like a news outlet. They're just a bunch of guys and gals who are fighting for freedom, fighting tyranny, fighting for democracy. So we're going to talk about that. Trump and Putin had a phone call. Apparently, it was a very good phone call. Some would say it's the best phone call that was ever made, but we'll see. The JFK files, folks, you are going to get exclusive news, breaking exclusive news here on Rickcast that you will never find anywhere else. So you need to stick around. I'm gonna string that one out, and then we're gonna end the show with some pop culture news, which we always like to do. So, who is the loudest group of people that hate Trump? Now, I know that's a very wide net, but if you had to pull down, it would be your group of Hollywood elites who despise Trump. Everything is the anti-Trump this, anti-Trump that, blah, blah, blah. Every movie, the bad guy's Trump. Well, in a stunning reversal of hypocrisy, Hollywood is now begging Trump to save them from AI. I am not joking. That is 100% a fact, and we will talk about it later on. So do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen, like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell so you can help this show grow. And people on Rumble, if you hit the notification bell, the like button and all that stuff, and leave me a comment, it'll get the attention of the guys putting together content over there, and they will see that this program needs to be promoted to more people. So I leave my fate in your tender hands, Rumble. Please help me. You're my only hope, my Rumble watchers. And of course, my people on X, always great to see you. My one Twitch watcher, I salute you. You are holding down the fort over there, man. You are an outpost in the social media space, but I do salute you and I appreciate you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we got a couple hot takes. I had everything preloaded, but if you know anything about StreamYard, I had it loaded in a different studio. And so they don't transfer over. So if you heard me saying some naughty words early in the when I started the stream, that was me realizing that I had nothing prepared. in this current one. So it's going to be a little touch and go on this one. We're going to be fine, but just forgive me on this. So the first one I will do, because I have that one set up. I don't know if you know the Ballad of the Space, the race to get the astronauts stuck on the space station. Well, they went up there, they got them, and this is a good story. Moments the stranded astronauts brought back to Earth after they were abandoned by President Joe Biden. Safe to say, there was a couple of NASA astronauts that went up to the International Space Station in a Boeing airplane. So that's the first thing that's not great. Then Joe Biden was like, whatever, where's my auto pen? And then kind of just left them. And Elon said, hey, I'll go get them. If you want, I'll go find them. And for a while, it was a back and forth, this and that. So finally, the astronauts are now safe back on Earth. And all's well that ends well on that one. So that's a good story. So we're happy to see them land home safely and not suffer the fate of the astronauts in Armageddon, which is a guilty pleasure of mine. And if it's not a guilty pleasure of yours and you're a male, you're un-American. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rick Cast. I'm the aforementioned Rick. All right, let's get to our next hot take here as I try to find it. This one is interesting. This one was released by the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, I believe. And I just want you to watch this video and tell me, who did we vote for again?
With Secretary Burgum to talk about our nation's housing affordability crisis. We need more affordable homes in America, about 7 million to be exact. And my friend here oversees the use of our federal land.
That's right. Our federal lands are an incredible asset on America's balance sheet. And we've been discussing how we can efficiently and effectively steward these underutilized areas to solve our nation's affordable housing crisis.
Well, today we're announcing a partnership between the Department of Interior and the Department of Housing and Urban Development that will unlock federal lands for the benefit of all Americans. And here's a glimpse of what this new agreement will do. HUD will work with DOI to assess the housing needs in areas where federal lands may be available yet underutilized, and implement tailored housing programs with guidance from states and localities.
This partnership will identify underutilized federal lands suitable for residential development and streamline the land transfer process. It'll also promote policies to increase the availability of affordable housing while balancing important environmental and land use considerations.
All right, so let's sign this agreement and get to work.
Oh, I'm not going to watch. That's stupid. I ain't watching all this. So let me ask you this. What are we doing here? What? Yeah, 95% of Nevada is owned by the feds. But you know what I don't want to do? Is I don't want to turn it into Section 8 housing. There are hundreds of cities and hundreds of small towns. There's a lot of ghost towns in Texas, and there's a lot of ghost towns in New Mexico and in the West and in Nebraska and all these Midwest states that would die to have some of this investment put into them for some of this supposed housing that is needed. Why are we going to rip off and destroy the beautiful land that is out there for Section 8 housing when we have dilapidated buildings in Ohio, in Detroit, Michigan, all across the West, the Rust Belt, in West Virginia, in parts of Rhode Island, and all these other places? All these places that are losing population, instead of destroying the natural wildlife and the natural habitat that actually exists there, why don't we just take those funds and rebuild all of that? That would be a much better thing. It always makes me upset when you see a new building go up, when right across the street there's a building that's falling apart, and they always say, well, it would cost too much to fix it instead of just build a new one. Oh, so you're telling me the new thing you're building is cheap. So that's what you're telling me. You're telling me the new building that you've created is a cheap piece of garbage. That's what you're telling me. And this old building that has managed to stand for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, that apparently is not worthy of investment. And so I saw this today, and I just shook my head, because this is an absolute waste of money. And it should not be touched. And by the way, In Nevada, most of that federal land is desert. So it's not like the amount of money it's going to cost to, essentially, for lack of a better term, terraform these properties into something habitable, bringing water, bringing, all of these other things. And so yes, I'm fine, Michael, with opening up the federal land for agriculture. Not a fan of opening up for housing. We have plenty of older neighborhoods that can be revitalized. That's what I'll say. If you agree with me, let me know in the comment section down below across all the platforms. If you don't agree with me, like Michael, he's kind of agreeing with me. Let me know what you think should be done. But I don't think this is a great idea. In fact, I think this is a stupid idea. But, the president is a land developer, so I'm not really shocked at that. All right, this is Rickcast. I'm the aforementioned Rick. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell if you like what we are doing to continue the growth that this channel is getting. And it is getting. By the way, real quick, I am going to be reviewing Daredevil episode 4 on the, if you're on YouTube, I've split it. On YouTube, there's the Rickcast reviews. That'll be there live stream at 9 if you're a YouTuber. Here on Rumble, Rickcast reviews is just going to be under Rickcast. It's all going to be the same thing. There's a method to the madness that Mag and I have talked about, and we're going to try and see if that works. So we'll get to that point. Outside of that, I hope to see you at 9 o'clock Central Time when Daredevil episode 4 premieres on Disney Plus. As this show is completely tanking, it's the one show that nobody's watching, and it's the show I decided to review. More because I like the show more than anything else. Anyway, I have been talking at length about the Summer of Love coming, Summer of Love 2.0 on the way. I mentioned it yesterday in my talk about the Knights of Columbus and Catholics and what are we going to do because Catholic churches are going to be targeted in the upcoming months, and what can we do to stop that? And I have further proof that the Summer of Love in 2025 is going to be very hot because the left has no other choice but to resort to violence. And if you don't believe me, check out these professors at a school in Virginia.
If you grab the gun, like Fanon says, you're no longer oppressed. You're not.
By the way, I do like the fact this lady says she has her "Kill Fascist" sticker on her MacBook. I always find that deliciously ironic.
Now free. How do we teach that in the class? Just to say that in the class, my students' heads explode, right? To tell them about violence.
I think this guy's wearing a kafifi, if that's right, the Palestinian flag. Yep, pay for by your tax dollars.
As a revolutionary tool, as sometimes a revolutionary essential.
We actually need to crash the U.S. settler state, which has incredible reverberations and literally strangles the tentacles that are reaching into the Israeli state.
So we must stand with the armed resistance and work right now to end this impunity by disrupting the flow of weapons to Zionists. Because trust, the armed resistance will defeat Zionism if it was an open battlefield.
Yeah, I've been humbled since October 7th, particularly being in community with folks. Particularly when you're someone who has been doing this work, why stop? This is a profound moment for us, right? And we need to dig in and go harder.
I think putting our bodies on the line sometimes to protect those who are more vulnerable, right? To eat tear gas when we should be doing that and not students.
Right? You think this guy is going to be eating tear gas, or is he going to be throwing like 17-year-old kids in front of him? These people foment revolution, they foment violence, and then they sit back and they let 18-year-old kids who don't know any better do their bidding.
I think that's essential.
So we have to struggle to crash things here. And my students were very, very clear about this. We have to struggle for Indigenous sovereignty right here on Turtle Island. Like there's.
See, they talk about struggle. And they talk about all these things in the lap of luxury. In the lap of luxury. Everybody on this, whatever the hell this is, Zoom call, they've all experienced comfort. Even if they try to tell you oppression and all these other things, they try to tell you the struggle. All three of these people, even the person doing the sign language, I don't know if they agree or don't agree with the message, but you're going to be in my example, homie. All three of these people have experienced comfort. They've experienced prosperity. All three of them look like they're not looking for meals, myself included. All three of them don't seem to be homeless. All three of them seem to be well provided for. They all have knickknacks and all kind. Well, the guy, I'm sorry about the interpreter. I don't know what your situation is. The two on the top seem they have their knickknacks and they have all their little things that they feel are necessary for their type of life. So yeah, they're definitely struggling.
There's no way around it, and there's no looking past it at this particular moment.
When that comes time to...
These are three professors who are probably tenured, which is why they're speaking like this, making exorbitant salaries, more than they deserve. Okay. And of course, we've talked about the educational system and how the educational system is a complete and utter Ponzi scheme at this point, trying to foment, because I don't agree with everything Phil Labonte says, but he's correct on this one. It's never about the cause. It's about the revolution. All these people want is revolution because they're Marxists, progressives, whatever you want to call them. They hate the current system. They hate the system they're in, and there's almost like survivor's guilt with that as well.
The university saying retract that or get fired, I'm confident in myself that I will make that right decision. That is the point of the being guerrilla scholar.
I'm sure that you've been snitched on to the administration about the content in your courses. That has been something that has happened for me, and I don't know what our administration is going to do, right? I know the work that I have been doing. I know the work that I've committed myself to, and I'm going to continue to do the work, right?
People missed out on the significance of what Hezbollah represented, right? Of what the Iranian Revolution represented. And they just fell into the imperialist ideological representation of those movements and forces that were challenging imperialism.
Challenge what the settler state, the settlement of the University of Virginia that we're on, which is still a plantation and has all of its plantation artifice.
And yet you don't suffer from any of it. You don't suffer from any of it, ma'am.
Right? And artifacts. I'm trying to really ride the wheels off of these institutional resources and go for broke.
That we have to understand Al-Aqsa flood on October 7th and since then as a really decisive historic strike in terms of not just Palestinian national liberation, right? But it's a historic strike intervening into this, and I apologize for kind of rushing through the anti-imperialist moment of the past 20, 30 years, but I think it's a decisive strike into challenging those two legs of imperialism.
Some colleagues who are part of my chapter of Faculty for Justice for Palestine to help us teach Palestinian liberation, right? To teach about resistance struggles at this particular phase of Palestinian
Naira, you guys have suffered enough. We're done with that. Why am I showing you this? Because this is what's being fomented, and we even saw all the way back to 2022. And that was under Joe Biden. So now you have the fascist regime that these people think they live under with Trump and Musk and all this other kind of stuff. We're seeing the escalation of hostilities at Tesla dealerships. They are targeting Tesla dealerships. More of them are being attacked every day. And the fact of the matter is, we're in March. Spring has not officially hit the calendar yet. This is the time of year when things are supposed to be calm, right? The winter is not a time where there is a lot of things that are happening. And so it's very interesting. Oh, look, you can see my hat. Hi, hat. It's very interesting that you have all of this stuff. There we go. Taking place right now. Only meaning that it is going to increase as this time or as the weather heats up. So I'm just saying, keep your head on the swivel because it's going to get frosty as the weather gets warmer. All right, last, I think I have one more hot take here. No, I don't. So let's get into our first story here on Rickcast. I am the aforementioned Rick. And here it is. Not these ugly people. Go away. Go away. You already had your turn. Bye. Here we go. Big story of the day. Ba-ba-ba-bam. Jeremy Boring steps into a new role focusing on entertainment. Little weird that he's doing that. Now, Axios.com tells us something a little different, that he's just stepping down. Jeremy Boring, co-founder of the Daily Wire, stepping down from his role as co-CEO to focus on creative properties for the company, he told staff in a memo obtained by Axios on Tuesday. There's some smart people in my chat room, guys. I want to ask you, do CEOs just step down? Do they just leave? Did they just send a memo out one day? Hey, guys, I'm leaving. Good luck. No, this is very odd. Especially it's odd for somebody who considered themselves, and I'm going to steal this directly from Candace Owens. I watched her stream earlier in the day. Jeremy Boring considered himself a front-facing CEO, meaning he is the literal face of the company. Now, of course, you have to understand Jeremy Boring's background. He's a theater kid, a failed Hollywood executive who came out to become a conservative influencer and to start, to change culture. But the only thing the guy changed is the ability, or the only thing the guy was able to accomplish was to charge overpriced razors and overpriced chocolate bars that ironically had to have his name on them. And he was very front-facing in the land of social media, and he was kind of all over the place. And you and I, because we are a crew, we talked about this when they did the Pardon Derek Chauvin campaign. I said, this is a terrible idea. This is a last-ditch effort to collect email signatures because the Daily Wire is losing subscribers and is a sinking ship. It's absolutely a sinking ship. It was kind of on the cutting edge in the Facebook era. They made a lot of money on Facebook. Before really the rise of this idea of people like myself just buying a camera and talking to it. You still had the idea, the setup, the framework of a network. The Blaze, the Daily Wire, conservative media, or whatever. There was another one out there. They merged with the Blaze. You have One American News. You had all these blankets of alternative news, but they were still networks. We're the Daily Wire. We're One American News. And we have our talent here that's opposite of Fox or opposite of this. And as this space has evolved, the ideas of having networks or having a lineup, not a lineup like the Rumble lineup, but a in-house lineup, conservative media 1, 2, 3, and these from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, this is our hosts. That doesn't exist anymore. That doesn't exist. It's gone. Because if you're any kind of talent, and this is what I'm talking about with Matt Walsh, my opinion. I don't like a lot of what Matt Walsh's, culture war takes are, but the guy is, without a doubt, a brilliant filmmaker. He is the most successful cultural thing that the Daily Wire has produced with his documentaries, which is why he's going to see the writing on the wall. He's not going to leave soon because he doesn't want to give the appearance of anything. He's going to be gone in 6 months. I'm telling you right now, he'll be gone in 6 months. Michael Knowles, I think he's just kind of hanging out until he could easily go start a upscale men's Catholic podcast, whatever, and just do that. That's kind of his, like a lifestyle influencer thing. He would be fine. But the fact of the matter is, the Daily Wire is a dinosaur. That's how quickly these things change in this space. Look at Brett Cooper. Brett Cooper left, and now she's twice as successful as anybody on the Daily Wire right now. And really, ironically enough, today is the day 1 year ago that Jeremy Boring fired Candace Owens. So in the span of 2024, they lost Candace Owens and they lost Brett Cooper because Brett Cooper left in December. So you had this loss of talent that was pretty earth-shattering because, you know, Candace has her documentaries and she has her point of view, and then Brett Cooper brought that Gen Z audience, things that you know, Ben Shapiro can't do. And so you have this whole thing going on, and Jeremy Boring did not take the loss of Brett Cooper well, right? When Candace left, they still had a pretty strong stable, and they were like, whatever, it's Candace, she's crazy, blah, 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 the Daily Wire will be fine. And yet, now we see that it's different now. It's completely different because it is what it is in that regard. I don't know what happened to me. I'm having a tough day over here. Wow, what's going on here? So he's gone. And the fact is, while he's gone, they tried to do, and somebody in the chat room said, it's a cover. You're completely 100% right. You are completely 100% right. They are trying to say, oh, well, he's going to take care of some random series, some series they wanted to do, or whatever the case may be. That doesn't really exist. Fine, whatever you want to call it. Don't care. But this is a result of a failed leadership. I don't know what's going on here today. Did my camera just shut off? This is weird. All right, well, that's fantastic. Anyway, if you can hear me, it doesn't matter. So you have this idea. You have him leaving. Boring has been with the Daily Wire since its inception in 2015. Now they're calling themselves, they feel they have a valuation of $1 billion. I don't think that's the case. I think that's a lot of smoke and mirrors and things being put together. I think there's a lot of things that are happening there that don't really matter. There I am. Hi. Tech support is not my friend today, but is one of these things that is very interesting simply because they didn't adapt. They didn't grow. They wanted to hold on to Brett Cooper, and Brett wanted more. I think it was a monetary dispute. It was a monetary dispute between the two of them. And I don't know how you go about messing that up. I don't. I really don't, because it's foolish to look at it. Anyway, so let's see. Let's continue on here. So Caleb Robinson, who's the company's founder and CEO, become the company's full-time CEO. Robinson co-founded the company alongside Boring and the outlet's founder, Ben Shapiro. So the way this is going to look is that Shapiro is going to hold on the longest because he has a monetary interest as being one of the founders, right? He's a founder, he's part CEO, whatever the case may be. And so as long as he is trying to hold on to it, it'll exist. It will never be what it was. There was a time, in 2016, 2017, 2018. Yeah. That's me right now. Even in the future, nothing works. Everything seems to have worked right now. But that's Rick Moranis, man. Where are you, buddy? This whole thing is just an example of how social media has changed this entire game. How you don't have to be a part of a network to be successful. And how networks and somebody like Jeremy Boring, who wanted to be the face of this thing, he wanted this to be his time to shine. He wanted to be out there. He just shot his foot off. He absolutely shot his own foot off because he was too busy getting in fights with other people, coming out and calling yourself something like the God King. And then he goes, oh, it was a nickname. Bro, you gave it yourself. You called yourself the lowercase God King, which is the biggest, D-bag move you can have. Nobody calls themselves that. But the fact is, this was the attitude they had. Now, of course, people at the Daily Wire are probably crushed and say, oh, it's fine. The Daily Wire is going to be fine. It's going to be this and that and the other thing. But we saw the cracks with the Cooper when Cooper left, which, by the way, real quick, this is Brett Cooper's response. She tweeted this out. So, ironically enough, who won that bet? Brett Cooper did. Jeremy Boring thought he knew better. In this case, he did not. So you have this statement that was put out by the Daily Wire. And we already read all this. Let's look at what Ben Shapiro was talking about. Right? Now, apparently, this Pendragon series, we'll talk about that in a second. They asked Shapiro what his thoughts were. And this paragraph right here is very interesting because as we saw in this, he's going to step down and he's going to be a part of the company's, he's going to be an advisor. He's going to be an advisor to creative projects, right? The Pendragon series and other stuff. He's going to host their backstage show, which I think is just a contractually obligated thing. They probably contractually, they have to do one a week. So as soon as that contract's up, he's going to get dumped out of that. Nobody watched that anyway. The Pendragon series or whatever their medieval series is that they produced, that supposedly has been done. So that's going to get released soon. It's just very strange that one day he goes, yeah, I'm done. And the co-founder, he's going to take over, but I'm still going to be around. But there's a lot of people talking around the interwebs and they're giving their own opinions. And this is just one of them.
Going bankrupt, allegedly. Jeremy Boring is officially out as CEO. That's right. The self-proclaimed God King of the Daily Wire is at the heart of so many scandals. And yes, he is self-described as the God King. And the email just went out today internally that he is.
I didn't want your audio anyway. So yes, that's a very interesting thing. I bet you that's probably one of the reasons why he's getting booted out. Because they've probably done test screenings and people are like, this is crap. This is awful. And so they tried to take the Hollywood model and they tried to force it on conservative America. And it just didn't work. So Shapiro had to say, Jeremy's hard work and brilliant leadership have been indispensable to the growth of this company from an idea to the largest conservative digital media country in the country. That's not going to be for long. They can claim that with podcasts and all these other things, but this ship is absolutely sinking. I mean, if you look at the way that Brett Cooper's show used to go from 500,000 to 1 million views of the comment section, which was her show, to now they're barely getting 20. And I'll talk about this after I get this part done. Jeremy is a tremendous talent. We're thrilled to get even more out of his creative focus in the business as we head to the next phase of expansion. We can't wait to see what he does next. What do you mean you can't wait to see what he does next? Isn't he part of your company? That's very, that's lawyer speak for, yeah, this guy's not going to be around longer. We can't wait to see what he does wherever. I think, yeah, that was an AstroTurf. That was just a troll, the Snow White movie that's going to bomb this Friday. So it's going to be interesting in that regard to see that. So yeah, you have Jeremy Boring. He's leaving. So Boring says he's going to be with the company in the advisory role. Now, advisory role is a very interesting thing. What is he advising? Is he the head of creative development? Is he the head of digital marketing? Is he advising over what? He's just an advisor. That's just a nice way of saying we fired him, but we're going to phase this firing out. You see this in corporate America all the time. A CEO has to step down for some reason, and then they say, oh, he's not being fired. He's being put in an advisory role as the company shifts in a different direction. Everybody can smell this because it smells like poo. And it is. It is delicious. It is, because the Daily Wire made no secret of how they considered themselves the big dog on the block. Right? Even Shapiro, we're the largest digital media company in the world or in the country. Yeah, but are you? You were when Facebook was the dominant social media platform. You really were. But you're losing. You're losing because Ben Shapiro his war with Trump and and this is not me being anti-Israeli or Jew hating or anything. Ben Shapiro is an Israeli first guy. I think he would tell you that. I don't think he is a Jew who is loyal to Israel. He is an Israeli first guy. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Do you, man? And if that's who you're loyal to, because that's your country, go get it, man. I don't care. But it also made a lot of people angry in their constant back and forth. And the Derek Chauvin thing is another one. We lit Shapiro up like everybody else when he openly criticized Derek Chauvin and openly called for him to be punished. Now, all of a sudden, they're launching the Pardon Derek Chauvin campaign. It seems like they're grasping at straws. Outside of Matt Walsh's films, which Matt Walsh seems to have a steady hand over because they're his thing, what else have they done? Jeremy's chocolate, which is ironic. Jeremy's chocolate and Jeremy's razors? Okay. What have they done? They promoted Shapiro. Now what are they doing? Now there was the rumored alliance with Timcast back in January where they were talking about merging. I think that was a desperate attempt to get some new life into the company. I don't think it was a monetary thing. People are looking at it from the monetary angle. I'm thinking of more of a relevance thing. And you're going to say, Rick, how can you say the Daily Wire needs relevance? They've got Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles and Ben Shapiro. Yeah, but if you look at them, they have a very niche audience, and their wars with Trump didn't help. And their stunningly bad takes in the culture war over and over and over again. And this is where I get Matt Walsh annoys me because of the way they try to promote things and the way they try to be a condescending voice to the masses. And that's not Matt Walsh. You can tell Matt Walsh is not good in that role. He's great as a filmmaker. He's a great eye for film, and he knows how to tell a story. And the culture war stuff, he just stumbles. He constantly doesn't have the right take, which I don't know what the right take would be, but he always seems to be on the opposite side of it. Knowles just seems like he just wants to smoke cigars, drink bourbon, and read books all day. And you know what? There's a niche for people who want to watch that. I don't have no problem with Walsh or Knowles. Andrew Klavan? What does Andrew Klavan do? What does he do? I don't know. I don't think you know either. What is one thing that the Daily Wire is known for being on the cutting edge with? I don't know. So it's interesting. After Tim Pool made the announcement that they weren't joining with the Daily Wire, he's kind of distanced himself from them. He's kind of focused on his own thing. They were really close for a while. They were going back and forth and hanging out. Now they're not. That could be one thing or another. It's just me observing from afar that, they're not as closely aligned as they once were. Everybody seems to be turning their back on the Daily Wire because everybody can smell what's happening. And so this seems like one last desperate attempt to get rid of the guy they feel is the reason for their struggles. He was the one that had that terrible interaction with Candace Owens, right? That was a terrible way to let her go. Whatever you think of Candace, she's a talent. You can see that on her own. She pulls in pretty high numbers. And she's a force in the conservative space, whatever you think about her. Brett Cooper, destroying it right now. And of course, if you remember, there was the issue that Steven Crowder had with the Daily Wire when he left, I think, the Blaze, because he was a part of the Blaze. And then he was a free agent for a while, and he kind of flirted with the Daily Wire. And then he exposed the Daily Wire for kind of having ridiculous talent contracts. So then he just went with Rumble. So the Daily Wire proves that networks are done. that that in the future of news or coverage or political talking heads, as soon as the cable generation dies off, it's just going to be independent people like me. Hey, man, I think she's a talent. She's got something that, some people have it and some people don't have it. She has it. Why? Who knows? But she knows how to work it. Yeah, they were both wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with that statement. I think, they were both wrong. But it is what it is in that regard, showing what it can be. So yes, that is the Jeremy Boring saga. He is gone. He is no longer a part of the Daily Wire. And I think it's a prelude to the Daily Wire collapsing this time in 2026. Yes. I don't think the Daily Wire will be anything close to what it is. Matt Walsh will be gone. Knowles will probably stick around because he doesn't care. He's just like, hey, I'm doing my thing. Maybe Clavin will, but its relevancy will be Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro is losing the influence that he once had in the space. So it's very interesting to see this go the way it has. All right, folks, this is Rick Cass. I'm the aforementioned Rick. Thank you for hanging out with me through some pretty bad technical issues here. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell if you like what we're doing. And you like the fact that I'm technologically retarded. Hey, man, it's just me. Maybe someday I can afford to bring Tommy back and he can run the board while I just talk like an idiot. The good old days. Next story up. Putin and Trump had a phone call. So this happened today, a readout of President Donald Trump's call with President Vladimir Putin. Today, President Trump and President Trudeau spoke about the need for peace and a ceasefire in the Ukraine war. Both leaders agreed this conflict needs to end with a lasting peace. They also stressed the need for improved bilateral relations between the United States and Russia. The blood and treasure that both Ukraine and Russia have been spending in this war would be better spent on the needs of their people. This conflict should have never started and should have ended a long time ago with sincere and good faith peace efforts. The leaders agreed that the movement to peace will begin with an energy and infrastructure ceasefire, as well as technical negotiations on implementation of a maritime ceasefire in the Black Sea, full ceasefire, and permanent peace. These negotiations will begin immediately in the Middle East. The leaders spoke broadly about Middle East as a region of potential cooperation to prevent further conflicts. They further discussed the need to stop proliferation of strategic weapons and will engage with others to ensure that the broadest possible applications. The two leaders shared the view that Iran should never be in position to destroy Israel, because we always got to talk about that group every time something comes up. The two leaders agreed that a future with improved bilateral relations between the United States and Russia has a huge upside. This includes enormous economic deals and geopolitical stability when peace has been achieved. Now, of course, everybody on the left lost their minds talking about, oh, look at Trump. Trump is Putin's little, toy dog. I'm trying to be nice here. And all these other things. And he's this, that, and the other. And he's such a wuss. And Putin's dominating him and this and that. Trump is trying to make a deal to end the war in Ukraine. It is not going to be a deal. Hey, listen, man, sometimes in a negotiation, you have to give what you have to give. Now, the deal hasn't been signed yet. Nothing's been signed yet. So technically, Russia hasn't gotten anything. And outwardly, it may seem that Russia gets everything. Maybe you're right, Mark. Maybe Trump does just give them everything. But let me ask you this. If it stops the war in Ukraine, I don't think that's a bad idea. This was a war he didn't start. It's a war that will not be won by the Ukrainians. And all it is a quagmire for lost, generations of Ukrainians are gone. For what reason? So we'll see. Will it work? I don't know. I would at least like to take the chance that this works. And until I actually see the final terms of the negotiation, I'm not going to get mad at what he didn't give or did give or what happened or what didn't happen. So this is just another step in that road, like you guys are saying. And you can let me know in the comment section across social media what you think. Do you think Trump is being played? Do you think he's just trying to negotiate? Is it going to end up well? Will it work even if he does get a deal in? You let me know in the comment section down below. All right. Let's see. This is Rickcast. We are moving along. All right, folks. I made you wait. Are you ready? Are you ready for the JFK files? I have them. I don't have a binder. But I have the JFK files. Are you ready? I hope you're sitting down, ladies and gentlemen. Here they are. Ta-da! In case you're listening, JFK, blown away. What else do I have to say? That's the JFK files, folks. Have a good night. Because they were delayed. Because you're never gonna get it, as In Vogue would say. They sang it a lot better than I did. So, it is what it is. Sorry, no bueno. Is no JFK file for you. You guys are gonna get this. You're out of your blanket mind if you think you're gonna get unredacted files of the JFK. Oh wait, we're not. No, you're not. Sorry, they're right on top of the Epstein files. I have the Epstein files, the JFK files, and then I got the Martians. They're all here. I'll give them to you eventually. Don't worry about it. There you go, folks. Exclusive here on Rickcast, the JFK files. You will not see this anywhere else. That's why you hang out with me. There's nothing here, man. Come on. Don't be silly. Oh, you ain't getting nothing. But don't worry. Dan Bongino is now running the FBI. So something. And I don't hate Bongino. I don't hate Kash Patel. I don't hate any of these people. I just think that the leading you around by the nose to try and get you excited about something you'll never get is just, it's stupid. It's stupid. Why promise? Remember, Trump promised the JFK files in 2016. What's going to happen now? Right? Shocked. But hey, good thing you hung out with me, so you got the inside scoop. All right, ladies and gentlemen, last story of the day. This one's kind of funny. Hollywood stars beg Trump for help after calling him a pig and a petty dictator. And who can remember this gem during the Kamala campaign?
Hi, you guys. Hi, Avengers.
Hey, Scarlett.
Jumping on the call.
Whoa. I think you mean assembling.
Oh my
assembling.
Don, that's pretty good.
No, they thought it was funny.
Anyway,
Scarlett, it is our pleasure to come together and to get the vote out this election.
Yeah, how can we be of service?
How about we start with what our voting plans are going to be, who we're going to bring to the polls with us, that sort of thing. Just to,
I think Kamala Harris needs a catchphrase.
Ooh, yes, definitely a catchphrase.
How about this? I'm just off the top of my head. I can do this all day.
Shut up.
I hate it.
Okay.
I mean, it's original, but
What about something punchier like,
Ooh, boom. You looking for this?
Iron Man 2, everybody loved it.
okay. Again, I think we're just trying to get out the vote.
Kamala forever.
That's better.
Yeah. Hey, Trump, help us. He's probably just going to go in there and be like, I thought it was Kamala forever. It's not Trump forever. So there you go.
How about I'm down with democracy? It's just clean, it's simple.
Okay, I like that.
It's hard to argue with that.
Kamala Harris down with democracy.
Oh, yeah. I'm Kamala Harris, and I say down with democracy.
I don't know if that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Very cringe. But remember that when you see this headline. Go away, ugly Avengers. Who wanted that lady in there? Nobody. So Hollywood stars beg Trump to save them. Hundreds of celebrities, including many liberals who have previously called him a pig, are now begging for his help in pushing back against big tech proposals on AI. President Trump unveiled a massive $500 billion plan to build up artificial intelligence projects in these United States, which I think is gloriously funny. only because these people are freaking out. The project called Stargate will also create an estimated 100,000 jobs. OpenAI and Google told Washington next week they believe American copyright law allows AI companies to train systems using copyrighted work without permission. Liberal stars, including Ben Stiller, Olivia Wilde, Cynthia Erivo, you know, the crazy lady from Wicked, Aubrey Plaza, Paul McCartney, because he's still alive, that idiot Mark Ruffalo you saw, and Kate Blanchett are now begging Trump to push back on this. Huh? Like, do you guys realize how foolish all of this is? How silly you people look? Because, for goodness gracious sakes, you guys have been campaigning. Literally last week, you were calling him a Hitler, the H word, and you were calling him all these other things, and you said he was this, and you said he was that, and now you're saying, yeah, remember all that nasty stuff we were saying about you? Can you like forget all that and help us? You know, because we're celebrities, and celebrities are, you know, cool and stuff. It's like, nah, bro, y'all done messed up. And it's your fault because you decided that you thought you were better than everybody else. Or you think you're actually exempt. And I'm trying to find something. There's a reason why. I think I showed this before, but there's a reason why they're freaking out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. But the fact of the matter is this. These celebrities are stupid. You know, Mark, you're right. Trump he does want to be liked. That is a thing. Trump does want to be liked. It's unfortunate because he kind of does. And he might do something stupid, like actually give them some help. I know we're all kind of like, ha, yay, get him, Trump. Like, I don't know. I think he might actually, here it is. Give me 2 seconds. He might actually give them the help they want just so they'll come and hang out with him for 2 seconds. And you know why they're freaking out? You know why they're freaking out? They need to freak out because, as I've talked about on this program and on Census Fidinium and on other places, AI will replace them. AI will replace them. It's just a matter of time. How can I know? Check this out. This is all AI you're about to watch. 100%. None of it is supposedly real, but this is what's coming for Hollywood. And it doesn't matter if Trump helps them or not, because this will happen within the next couple years. And this is low effort AI. Low effort AI. Folks, check it out. That's all. This is all AI. None of this is real. By the way, it's the best looking Superman movie in a while. You don't need to watch the whole thing. But this is what they're afraid of. And they should be. Guys, you guys are, I do think it's funny how you guys, and this is not, I'm not attacking anybody. Everybody dumps on AI, but you realize this is early AI, right? Within 6 months, you're not going to be able to see a difference. Yeah, it looks reptilian because it hasn't figured it out yet. But you're going to get this. And it doesn't matter what these Hollywood stars are trying to say. We firmly believe that American global AI leadership will not come at the expense of our essential creative industry. Sorry, sucker, you're not essential anymore. You're not essential anymore. You're going to get replaced. There's no need for Hollywood anymore. None. And I know everybody gives me a lot of pushback when I say this, but we as conservatives and others should embrace this. We can tell our stories without the terrible, like, conservative movie tinge. But I know everybody pushes back. AI's bad. AI's evil. I know. It's coming. It's coming, though. We can either embrace parts of it to tell the stories we want to tell, or we just sit here and cross our arms and say, we don't like AI. AI is stupid. We don't like it. It's bad. So I don't fault you either way. I don't. I look at it as an opportunity to embrace that we can use to tell the stories we want to tell. Imagine feeding an AI program the book of Job and saying, I want a feature-length film on the book of Job. There will be no bias. There will be no Protestantism in it. Sorry, my evangelical brothers and sisters, but y'all really can't make films. There won't be any of it. So I think there's something there. And you know it's coming because these guys are freaking out. Oh, no, Ben, this is why actors need to keep their mouths shut. Right? That's why actors need to keep your mouth shut and not get political. Because if you don't get political, then when this comes, everybody's like, oh, yeah, we need to help them. But instead, you guys did your Kamala forever. You guys did your we think Trump's a pig. We think Trump's a fascist. Blah, blah, blah. Orange man bad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, Lord and behold, now you're asking him for help. Womp, womp. Sorry, sucker. All right, folks. That's it for this episode of Rickcast. Thank you for hanging out with me. Please make sure you like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell. If you all do, I might be able to get better technology, so they'll actually work. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know, but it's going to be fun either way. Tonight, I am going to be reviewing Daredevil episode 4 after it airs on Disney Plus on Rickcast Reviews. It used to be the Armed Catholic channel. It is now Rickcast Reviews on YouTube. It'll be streaming on Rumble at its regular Rickcast account. We're trying to separate it a little bit on YouTube for reasons. But if you want to hang out with me, I will be on at 9 p.m. Central Time to review Daredevil episode 4. If not, I will talk to y'all tomorrow here on Rickcast, where we will talk about more wacky stuff and what's going on, because every day is a new day. I hope you all have a good night. I'll either see you tonight at 9 p.m. Central Time, which would be 10 p.m. Eastern, or I'll see you tomorrow at our regular same Rick time, same Rick channel. All right. God bless. And until that day comes, free Dexter Taylor.